What's going on, guys? It's CCA, and today we are going to make a Rainbow Six Siege Defenders tier list with Skopos just being added into the game. I kind of wanted to redo my Defenders tier list that I did so long ago. Some operators have been nerfed, some operators have been buffed since then, and with the new addition of Skopos, I'm curious on where to actually put this operator. It's going to be a bit of an asterisk on the rating that I give her because I haven't personally played her yet myself, because I'm waiting until she is available to everybody to play. Right now it's just for the Battle Pass holders, but I want to rate her just based off of the gameplay that I've seen of her and how she actually works. We're going to see probably near the end what I rate her at, but let's get into the tier list. By the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've been hitting the gym a lot more recently. Oh man, the lighting's not really picking it up, but I got a bit of a pump right now. Just came back from the gym. I'm feeling good. 5 times a week I've been working out. Anyways, that's not what you guys are here for. Let's get into the tier list, baby. So we've got every defender in the game. S, A, B, C, and F tiers. 5 tiers for every defender. And we're going to see where we end up putting them. Every single defender should be here. I say should. Because, well, they should be. I picked up this R6 list thing online. Just some random tier list. I had to add a few operators, Skopos, Sentry, and Duberal, but everyone else should be there. And in no particular order, let's start off with Alibi. Alibi. This is a really fun operator to start on because I think when used properly, she can be quite solid. She has a pretty her primary is okay, the SMG. Great fire rate, but literally shoots frozen bees at people. Doesn't really pack a whole lot of damage, but it's tough. She is very fun to use, but I might have to throw her in C tier. There are a lot of operators that I think are better to bring up rather than her. I do think she can be usable in a lot of objectives, especially ones with windows that a lot of ops will be attacking from. What I'm thinking just off the bat is the second floor on Oregon, the dorms bedroom. You can pop a bunch of these on windows, and either they jump through and hit the thing, or they're trying to shoot people, and also hit the thing and reveals them. So yeah, she can be used quite well, but probably better ops than her to use. Next up, we've got Aruni. This is another interesting operator. I like her gadget for the most part. Denies some utility usage. Can be used as kind of even like a sound cue for enemies, but the thing I don't like about Aruni gates is they can also kind of be used against you as a defender. If you put them on a doorway in and around the objective, there is a sound cue for when a defender goes through them, and I'm not the biggest fan of Aruni. There are objectives where I really like playing Aruni, but for that I might throw her in B tier. She's kind of like a middle the ground operator for me. She's nothing crazy, and I wouldn't exactly call her terrible either. She is just okay. Now up next is Asami. We're getting all of the A. I just realized all of this is, I believe this is sorted by alphabetical order. I'm just realizing that now, which is hilarious, but oh well. Let's move into Asami. Good operator, okay weapons. I personally love the Russian SMG. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I like the Russian SMG that she has access to. I forget the name of it. And her ability on is so underrated. Probably the best primary in the game with an ACOG. Plus, his Goyo canisters can be so good. As the round goes on, that Goyo canister gets better and better. Just denying entry with these are so good. Jaeger up next. Man, what a fall from grace. I feel like this guy is like a C or a B tier nowadays. Back in the day, he was an easy S with that Tachanka as a human. Hate him as an operator. I tried using him recently in some ranked just for fun, and man, this guy sucks, bro. There are just way better options to use if you're looking to gain some, have some sort of entry denial operator on your team. Use Goyo, use Smoke. There's way better options. Definitely an F tier. Thorn. I feel like she's another F or D tier operator. I'm gonna pop her into D tier just because I kind of like her Uzi. And sometimes her thorns can be good just for intel around the objective, but I don't know, man. There's better trap interactions